Hi guys, thanks for joining us on another battle report. Today we're playing Terminator Genysis from River Horse Studios. With me I have Molo.
Hello.
And I'm basically giving him an intro game where I've been faffing around with a couple of games today. So I thought I'd show Molo how to play. So I'll be playing the Resistance, he'll be playing the Terminators, and we'll be using the new big shiny spider tank. We're also playing, I think, scenario 5, which is evacuate or something like that. But we've modified it, which we'll come to in a minute. So we'll go through the forces, show you the table, we'll go through the mission a bit, and then we'll get started. Okay guys, so this is the forces I'm going to be using. I'm playing Resistance. We're doing 500 points. My army's led by Kyle Reese over here. He's going to be using an elite force, at least in my mind an elite force. I've got 2 rocket launchers, I've got a minigun, I've got a heavy sniper, I've got 2 grenade launchers, and I've got a captain and an NCO. We also have a sniffer dog and around about 10 plasma gunners. That's my 500 points, and this is the force I'll be facing as the Terminators. So we've got a spider tank, an infiltration Terminator, and then 6 endos. So that's 500 points. We've also got some time agents. I've got 2 D8s and Molo's got 2 D8s. And this is the board. So I'm going to give you a quick scan of the quadrants, and then I'll tell you the mission. So like I said, we were playing the evacuate mission. We're using the sort of just normal deployment zone. But what we're doing is we're using this Jeep here with the gunner on top. The gunner and the extra armor has been paid for part of my force, but the Jeep is not. So the Jeep is static there. We've decided, because it's a bit of a clown car, there's actually a manhole cover underneath, and the guys are evacuating through the Jeep into the manhole down below to try and trick the Terminators. So the way we're working this scenario is, every man I get into the Jeep and down the manhole, I get a victory point for. So for example, if I evacuate 7 guys, I'll have 7 victory points. The Terminators, on the other hand, their job is to try and stop me from doing that. So for every 2 soldiers they kill, they will get a victory point. So for example, if they kill 9 guys, that'll be 4 victory points, and they'll need another 1 to kill the 5th one. So it's very simple. We just played a game of this beforehand where Tony was the Resistance and John was the Terminators.
Family members.
How did that go, Tony?
Very badly. 2 infiltrators in my lines at the beginning sort of distracted me and didn't allow me to get anybody near the extraction point before the Terminators totally overrun it, and I think the Terminators made it as far as about that line. Made it as far as my deployment zone.
I cannot take all of the credit for the Resistance destruction there, as at least half of the damage, I'm saying, was done by the Resistance.
Well,
fighters.
I love the fact that before before John even fired a first shot, he had like 2 points in the bag.
Well, yes, because the only guys I had that could still activate near the infiltrators had stick bombs and grenade launchers, so they were taking their own guys out.
Fortuitous deployment from the infiltration units.
Okay, so we're using obviously a little bit of a different. Normally we use the custom board that we made. Instead today we're using a Deep Cut Studio playmat. We're using obviously the red brick scenery from Mantic Games, and then a lot of Tesco cars and trucks.
Still in LA.
Yep. So this is what we're playing on. You got the mission, you got the forces. So let's get started with the first turn. We'll be back in a sec. Okay, I just wanted to do a quick deployment video and then we can roll for initiative. So Molo's deployed his endos in a nice little straight line across his deployment zone with the big spider tank right in the middle of the road. Obviously keeping an eye on anything that moves towards the Jeep. I have gone for a central position, trying to consolidate my forces. So I got a grenade launcher out here, but then it's just filled with plasma gunners, and Kyle Reese is holding the center here with a sniffer dog, minigun, and all these guys all the way around. Hold on, who's that? There's a big German guy in the middle.
No, that's Dave. He's been with us for months.
Yeah, the guy with the half metal face, that's an infiltrator. I bet you. I'm not 100% sure, but you know.
It's a birthmark.
So there we go. That's the deployment zone. There's an infiltrator amongst our ranks. We're just not sure if it is or not. Nice little eye view of what the rocket launcher is looking at. The 7 foot tall German guy in the
Dave, why have you got 2 plasma guns?
Yeah. Come on then, Molo, let's roll for
Sarge,
initiative.
that's not fair. Dave's got 2 plasma guns.
I've got a 3.
4.
You got 4. You got initiative. Let's go. Okay, so round 1 is done. We've done all the activations. They went pretty smoothly. The first thing that happened was naturally the big German guy went, I'm not letting you guys get away from here. Unfortunately, he forgot to load his gun properly. Out of all 4 shots, he managed to only reel this guy sitting right here. Which meant he activated first, which gave me an opportunity to kind of ignore him. Just kinda. As we went back and forth, I did use my minigun, which has 5 shots. I was trying to reel him onto him. Nothing happened there much. My sniper, as you see, there's a nice Terminator across the road down there under Molo's chin. He got a good shot off there and reeled that one. So that Terminator is reeled. And all the other endos have just moved up as far forward as possible. I'll come back to the big news right at the end. But what happened is my guys all rushed forward. Basically just getting the hell out of Dodge. Just get to the chopper. Get to the chopper. Move, move, move. Yeah, get to the
I
truck.
would be more suspicious of the guys that kept calling out "get to the choppers," especially with that thick Austrian accent.
Yeah.
So the last thing that happened was Molo did fire a couple of things as well. He put a reeling marker on that soldier right there. And that is the extent of Molo's damage. He got a reeling marker there and a reeling marker here. I've got a reeling marker on that Terminator, like I said, over there. But I also fired, as you can see, this rocket launcher's view at the big ass giant spider tank coming at the back there. He missed, but this one didn't. He hit, I failed to wound, and I got a reeling because Molo rolled a 2 for his reeling test. So the spider tank is busy next turn. That's all I needed because he is brutal. Although he didn't actually do much other than reel that guy over there. I was rolling like a demon on my 4+ armor saves, just saving everything. So that's the end of round 1. How do you feel it's gone so far, Molo?
Doesn't seem to be going well. You humans seem to be selfishly clinging to existence.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, so this was end of round 2, and it's looking pretty good for the resistance at the moment, mainly due to my unbelievable armor save rolls. 4+ apparently is really easy to roll. Right, so what happened? I got the initiative roll and jumped a few guys into the truck, which descended into the manhole cover. And then Molo moved forward a bit, not causing too much damage. I mean, looking around, I actually removed the dead guys, which I forgot I don't normally do. But what happened was I killed a Terminator right there with this guy. Fire on him, took him out. You did take out 2 guys that were over here with this guy firing infiltrated, taking out the rocket launcher and his buddy. The minigun, however, fired, retaliated. I can't actually wound the Terminator infiltrator with it, but I can definitely reel him, and with 4 shots, hitting 4 sixes, I've reeled him for next turn, so that's awesome.
Just pure weight of minigun fire, just knocking the Terminator back.
Yeah.
Eventually the humans will come suspicious from all the minigun fire he's taking as well.
So, what happened otherwise? So basically the points are as follows. Molo's got 1 point, because he gets 1 point for every 2 guys he kills. He's got 1.5 basically. And I've got 5 points, so I've got 5 guys into the truck. And I've killed 1 Terminator, which is no real points, but it's just a trophy. What's really helping me though is my command activations with LT and the captain. Although I have moved the captain off the board. It was a risky maneuver, but I thought, you know what, get the points while I can. And I've got a couple of guys who've moved onto the flank trying to keep the Terminators pinned in. I had another rocket launcher fire. This guy here is doing a sterling job of hitting that thing at the back there. But not actually wounding it. I rolled a 2 to wound it again. And Molo failed his reeling test this time. So that's what it looks like at the moment. Oh yeah, sorry, succeeded. So that's what it looks like at the moment. It's 5-1 on the points. But obviously every time I get a guy into the truck, I'm losing firepower on the board. And obviously the Terminators are closing in. So I got the points in early, but I got a feeling it's going to be a lot tougher to get points in now. This guy I'm showing you right now in the between, he's the luckiest son of a gun. He got fired on by all 4 of those Terminators. And last turn he also got fired on by the spider tank. And it's just doing matrix maneuvers, just dodging everything out of the way. No problem. So that's what the game looks like at the moment, at the end of round 2. Like I said, it was 5-1. But it's going to get a lot tougher for the Resistance to get troops off the board now. So let's go to turn 3. Okay, so this is the end of round 3, or turn 3, I'm pretty sure. And it's not looking good for Molo. Man, that was an unbelievable turn. So basically, what it came down to was, I think Molo got the first activation. Well, no, I got the first activation, and I had that guy, the Lucky Joe, sitting right there. He just jumped into the Jeep, scoring me my 6th point. So I got 6 points in the bag. Then the Terminator started to get to work. That guy over there moved up there and snipped this grenade launcher in half, getting Molo his 2nd point, because that's 4 guys he's killed. But this Terminator moved over here and decided to fire in between both my guys to shoot my NCO. He got the hit, failed to wound, and then I rolled a 1 for my reading test. So she had an aneurysm and passed out and died. So that puts him at 2.5 points. Which meant also, then I started doing some stuff. I fired my rocket launcher again at the big bad boy at the back there. This is the 3rd time's the charm, as I got a wound through, wounded him, and Molo failed his reeling test. So he's only got 1 wound left because he's resilient, and he's also stunned for the next turn. Brilliant. But this also follows a certain path of what Molo did this turn, as he has few resources left, and he moved up to try and take out Kyle Reese. With 2 of the endos, and he passed all his 4+ saves, no problem, because he's hard as nails. And obviously that guy had activated. This guy then got fired on by the heavy machine gun team on the Jeep and put a reeling marker on him. And then it was just me left to go with all my dudes. That guy got a reeling marker on thanks to those guys, and this guy got a reeling marker on thanks to those guys. So at the end of turn 3, it looks like this. Molo's still got most of his forces left, but that one is reeling, that one is reeling, that one is reeling, that one is reeling, and that is reeling. They are all under pressure, I suppose, because he only has that 1 endo left to work with on the next turn. Whereas, oh actually no, I forgot. I'm still counting him as part of my force. You got the infiltrator down here. What did he do, Molo?
He shot him.
He was reeling.
Oh yes, of course, he was reeling this turn. That's
and
why
he didn't manage to reeling this go, so he's going to activate this go.
No, that's right. Yeah, the minigun tried to do something, but didn't do
It's
much.
been constantly the minigun just pinning him down, just knocking him back, but he failed this go.
I'm loving that minigun. But I mean, the fact that I have so many endos that are, and also the big spider tank that are panicked, is just unbelievable. I don't think I've seen that in games I've played of this. So many failed reeling tests.
Well,
You should shake your head in.
You've made so many cover saves as
That's
well.
true, yeah. It's been a really one-sided game in terms of I'm making cover saves and you failing reeling saves. So, the scores on the doors are 6-2 at the moment. So we put those casualties back there. And we're going to go on to turn 4 now. I think turn 4 might decide if this game goes on any further. Because we were working out as well, I don't actually have a lot of dudes left on the board. So it might come to the point where Molo can't actually score enough victory points to even tie the game. So how you feeling now, man?
Oh yeah, complete confidence. We are the shining ones. We're gonna,
You should have brought some batteries with.
Yeah, clearly.
Alright, let's go to turn 4. Okay, folks, this was end of round 4 and also the end of the game, as Molo had another disastrous turn. I got first activation, and I had a quandary of things that I wanted to do, but I ended up going with a minigun, just because I wanted to try and take out, at least try and take resolution tests. So I fired with my minigun, 5 shots, 5+ to hit, got 2 hits, 2 resolution tests, and Molo rolled a 1 and a 3 for his resolution test. Unbelievable. Your resolution test is just terrible.
It's obviously a badly made game.
So that took out the infiltrator, which left Molo with only 1 actable figure this turn, which he activated. It jumped over there, tried to take out those 2 guys, which would have been worth a point if he got them both. Missed on both hits, and that was basically his turn done, as everything else had activation counters on. So I had the freedom of the go. Fired my rocket launcher at the spider tank. I thought, I'm going to try and take out that spider tank on my first game against it, just because I wanted to. Rolled a 3+ to hit on my D8. Used my last time agent to send it back. We've actually, I forgot to mention the time agents before. We've used the time agents a lot this game. But I rolled a 1 for my next following dice, so that didn't work. Sniper fired on the Terminator and missed. And then the rest of my guys that could moved into the Jeep. The heavy machine gun guy fired on this guy, did nothing. So these two guys decided grenade launcher, missed. And then this guy took him out. And that was the end of the game. So the final score is I have 8 points because I've got 8 guys off the board. I know it looks like 9, but the dog doesn't count. So that's 8 points to me. And Molo has 5 kills, which is only 2 points. 2.5. If you
Sort
think.
of our own scoring system.
Yeah.
By the rules, you really should be the value of the cost of the figure.
And the cost is roughly the same. Actually.
Roughly the same, yeah. But
But-
we just did a quick version.
Yeah, we wanted to try a little more thematic narrative to add to the game of the resistance trying to evacuate because of the big ass spider tank causing them immense disruption.
Causing them no disruption whatsoever and not moving beyond
Yeah.
this part of the board.
But basically the game we played before this, I mean,
Basically, what we played was 2 separate victory conditions. The resistance victory conditions was the retrieve, the
evacuate,
extract,
yeah.
and the Terminator's victory conditions were the annihilate.
I thought it worked alright.
Yeah. No.
I think my tactic of rushing early towards the Jeep really paid off because obviously I got points early in the bag. I was thinking what was going to happen is that I would get guys into the Jeep early on, but leaving me with little firepower left, with the Terminators crossing the board. Because when I saw against your game, Tony, when you were playing John earlier, he got across the board pretty early
Quick,
and
yeah.
pinned you back into your side of the board. So I kind of figured, well, I don't want that to happen to me. So I wanted to rush up as fast as I could, get to the Jeep and get guys through the Jeep, and then get some points in the bag, and then hopefully Molo won't just destroy the rest of what happened to what was left of my army.
Well, in the last game, I was pretty effectively pinned down by the 2
Infiltrators,
infiltrators
yeah.
on the wings, which caused chaos, and I had to spend pretty much 2 goes and most of my activations to overcome those 2.
That's right, yeah, that was really painful. That's also one of the reasons that I learned from your game as well, is I deployed closer to the dog, and also Milo only had 1 infiltrator because we were using the spider tank in this game. What about you? What did you think?
Well, I mean, now that you've finished discussing the tactics that you planned ahead of time for my intro game, I don't mind the game, certainly. It certainly has, I don't know, more of a sense of the sort of random battle. You're just randomly firing about, and people seem to just fall down and die more often than they do die from actually being shot, which is quite an interesting principle. But,
Yeah, I think it's supposed to represent, I think they're running away or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, the one on the
Yeah.
the
But I-
resilience roll is
Because-
that's morale. It's
so-
all malfunction as a Terminator.
Well, Tony brought a couple of things around for us to use as well, like we brought the guy on the Jeep and the spider tank, so I wanted to include them in the game. And we obviously also had some infiltrator models, and I love the new minigun that Tony converted. I love miniguns, and so firing as many bullets is always in my favour.
Well, it's quite effective actually. I found it one of the most effective weapons in my game, the minigun.
Yeah, it actually...
And you was quite successful. That's 5 dice, 5d6. I know you can't.
Yeah, you can't kill anything
Can't
with
kill
it.
anything, but you're gonna
But
reel it.
I tend to find it like with this particular game, the Terminators are out to kill everything, and the Resistance are more there to try and complete the objectives.
Yeah.
So you're not always looking to obliterate the Terminators. You're trying to complete your objectives. So something like this, which stalls them, keeping them busy for a turn, is brilliant. I mean, look at this turn that you just had. I mean, you had 2 figures that were available to activate because I pinned, rather than trying to kill everything, once something was pinned, I left it alone and then moved on to something else.
well, by the time I got to activate, I only had 1 figure as well.
Exactly, yeah. Well, there you go. That's our little homemade evacuate scenario with a demo game for Milo. Well done, Milo. And I thought that worked really well. I hope you guys liked it. Comment below if you thought you liked the scenario and you would want to maybe try it, and tell us what the results were. And thanks for watching. Thanks for playing, Milo. Or at least thanks for moving some models around.
Wow.